Tonight is a community service of the New York Institute of Technology.
Covering the news of Nassau and Suffolk County's Long Island News Tonight with Ken Eckhart, Carol Peck, and the award-winning LI News team.
Good evening. I'm Ken Eckhart, and here's what's happening. Well, if you thought Friday's 70-degree temperatures were an indication that spring was on our doorstep, this morning's snow probably came as a big surprise. The National Weather Service says it's common for it to snow in March, although they say the record for this date in Islip is only 1/10 of an inch. While today's snow seemed heavy at times, Long Island just got a dusting, and this isn't the end. More snow is possible on Wednesday into Thursday. And the National Weather Service says records show it snowed at least 4 times in April over the past 3 decades. A Long Island man has been charged with trapping his neighbor's 2 cats because they were sleeping on his front porch, then abandoning them in a nearby park. According to the Suffolk County SPCA, 57-year-old Edward Foy of Fort Salonga told investigators the cats were sleeping on cushions on his front porch and leaving cat hair, and he was afraid they would reproduce. The SPCA says Foy took the cats to a wooded area in Sunken Meadow State Park, where he says he released them. One of the cats was trapped last month, the other earlier this month. The SPCA says investigators looking for the cats at the park have so far been unsuccessful. Foy has been charged with 2 counts of animal abandonment. A former Suffolk County legislator, George Goldie, was sentenced to prison today for 4 to 12 years. Last month, Goldie was convicted of grand larceny and insurance fraud in connection with the burning of his home in West Hampton Beach. He reportedly collected an over $800,000 insurance check after the fire in November of 2008. Goldie is also ordered to pay back the more than $800,000. Over a dozen people have been arrested in connection with a mortgage fraud scheme that the Nassau DA's office has netted organizers millions of dollars. Zavera Titler reports.
These are just a few of the homes targeted in what the Nassau District Attorney describes as a widespread scheme of mortgage fraud and identity theft. And the scheme has now led to the arrest of over a dozen people, including lawyers, bankers, and mortgage brokers. DA Kathleen Rice says the investigation was dubbed Operation Sweet Deal because she says the ringleader was 43-year-old James Sweet, who ran it along with 44-year-old Dwayne Benjamin, both of Westbury. In all, 17 people are facing charges, including grand larceny, forgery, mortgage fraud, money laundering, and identity theft. Rice says many of the schemes use a third person called a straw buyer who used their good credit to qualify to buy a home. Then the scam began.
Organization members would negotiate with sellers to purchase their home at a higher price than the seller was asking, and then would keep the difference between what the bank lent out and the seller's price.
And while some of the straw buyers were in on the scam, Rice says others weren't.
The straw buyers they each received $10,000 for use of their personal information on mortgage applications. They were often told that they would be assisting sellers who were in financial stress or that the homes would be excellent investment opportunities.
So after Sweet Deal members were able to get straw buyers to purchase homes at inflated prices, they then got bold and started using identity to impersonate homeowners and home buyers, leaving innocent victims with stolen homes or bad credit. Rice says Operation Sweet Deal wound up stealing over $20 million in the scheme, which he says went on for about 6 years. In Mineola, Savera Titler, LI News Tonight.
Nassau County Police have arrested a man they say broke into his girlfriend's home and barricaded himself inside with their 13-year-old son for nearly 7 hours before finally surrendering. Police say 48-year-old Alex Mitchell of Barbados broke a basement window and entered the Westbury home a little before noon yesterday morning. When he refused to leave, police say the two argued and the woman called police. As she was leaving with her son, Detectives say Mitchell grabbed the boy and barricaded himself and the child inside. He finally surrendered a little before 6 last evening. No one was injured and no weapons were recovered. Gas prices across the island may range from as low as $3.59 a gallon in Calverton to as high as $3.99 in Melville for a gallon or regular gasoline. But as Charles Perry reports, the cost is actually stabilizing for now.
Gas prices are leveling off on Long Island, with the prices this week barely 1/10 of a cent higher than they were a week ago. Over the past week, the average price of a regular gallon of gas remained close to $3.75. And even if prices haven't gone up that much in the past few days, they're still about 35 cents higher than they were last month.
I think the recent rise in gas prices is unfortunately the result of the fact that our country hasn't formulated a policy in which we are attempting to become more energy independent.
Drivers say that they're concerned about the amount of money they're going to have to spend at the gas pump.
I realize it's frustrating, but we're victims. If we're dependent upon getting gasoline and the prices go up, then we have to pay increased prices.
It's really ridiculous. It's very hard to get by today. Very difficult. The guy asked me fill it up. I says, I got no money to fill it up. I got to get food.
Last year at this time, a gallon of gas was a bargain on the island, averaging about $2.80 a gallon. In Greenville, Charles Perry, LI News Tonight.
What was an up day on Wall Street today? The Dow finished the day up 178 points. NASDAQ was up 48.5 points. And the S&P was up almost 19.25 points. NYIT's LI News Tonight continues after this.
A Knit and Talk support group for women with breast cancer meets at Adelphi University School of Social Work in Garden City on the second Tuesday of each month from 2 till 3:30 p.m. Pre-registration is required. Call 516-877-4314. Workshops for people who want to take their citizenship exam are held at Acorn and Hempstead on Tuesdays from 6:30 till 9 p.m. For more information, call 516-481-6769, extension 504. The Suffolk JCC has an ongoing chamber music ensemble which meets in Comac on Thursdays from 8 till 9:45 p.m. For more information, call 631-462-9800, extension 129. And the North Shore LIJ Health System offers a weekly support group for stroke survivors and caregivers in Manhasset on Fridays from 10 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. Bring your own lunch. For more information, call 516-562-4947. You have an event you'd like included on the LI News Tonight community calendar. Send it 3 weeks in advance to linewstonight@nyit.edu.
Start your future. Learn the industry. Use the technology. Become an expert in television reporting, journalism, radio, digital film, public relations and advertising, television production, digital graphics, a beautiful state-of-the-art campus, a road to the job you've always wanted, in the media capital of the world. Communication Arts at NYIT. When can you start?
In world headlines today, coalition jets were patrolling the no-fly zone over Libya today. Over the weekend, they scattered and isolated Muammar Gaddafi's forces with a series of air attacks. U.S. military authorities say they are moving to turn over control of the operation to America's allies in the coalition. The assault has included B-2 stealth bombers, jet fighters, more than 120 Tomahawk cruise missiles, and officials say no Allied planes have been lost and all pilots have returned safely. The governor of the Japanese province that's home to the crippled nuclear power plant is telling residents that the crisis is still going on, but that officials are doing all they can to bring it to an end. A plume of smoke from two buildings today put a temporary stop to efforts to reconnect power lines and restore cooling systems. But the U.S. says it appears that containment at 3 reactors there is still intact. Meanwhile, traces of radiation are tainting vegetables and some water supplies, leading the government to ban the sale of raw milk, spinach, and canola in a region that extends from the plant toward Tokyo. Police estimate the death toll from the earthquake and tsunami will top 18,000. And Google says the Chinese government is interfering with its email services in China, making it difficult for users to gain access to its Gmail program. Google said its engineers have determined that there is no technical problems with the email service or its main website. Instead, they say it's a government blockage carefully designed to look like the problem is with Gmail. A Google spokesperson said that users in China have reported having intermittent problems with the service since the end of January. Well, Suffolk County Police say they've made an arrest in connection with the robbery of a Citibank branch in Comac a little over a week ago. Detectives say 22-year-old Mark Gossin of Dix Hills has been charged with robbery and resisting arrest. Gossin reportedly went into the Citibank branch on Jericho Turnpike and told a teller he was armed, then demanded money. Police say the teller handed over the cash and Gossin fled. He was arrested on Saturday. A Suffolk County teenager is hospitalized in critical condition after police say he crashed his car into a pole in Manorville, also injuring a passenger. It happened late Friday night along Weeks Avenue, just north of Morich's Middle Island Road. Police say 17-year-old Logan Murphy of Mastic Beach apparently lost control of the vehicle and hit a pole. He was taken by helicopter to Stony Brook University Medical Center, admitted in critical condition. A 17-year-old passenger in the car was treated for minor injuries. Authorities say a Long Island businessman who's accused of bilking Medicaid of almost $11 million has made the nation's most wanted list for healthcare fraud. Etienne Alance is reportedly charged with helping to steal patient information from nursing homes in Queens and Brooklyn, then using it to create fake Medicaid bills. The 46-year-old Westbury resident ran a medical equipment company out of Hicksville. It says his name was added to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Most Wanted Fugitives list last month. The health department says it's believed he has fled to Haiti. Fewer Americans bought previously occupied homes in February, pushing the median home price down to its lowest level in nearly 9 years. The National Association of Realtors says sales of previously occupied homes fell last month to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 4.88 million. That's down 9.6% from January. And the pace is far below the 6 million homes a year that economists say represents a healthy market. Sales of homes at risk of foreclosure rose to 39% of all sales in February. Well, spring may have arrived yesterday, but it sure didn't look it today with a mix of rain and snow this morning, leaving many areas covered in white. The high was in the low 50s. Tonight, clouds early, then clearing later tonight with a low in the low 40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high into the low 50s. Wednesday, another wintry mix turning into just rain. The high should be around 40. Thursday, a chance of showers, a high in the low 40s. And the outlook for Friday, mostly sunny with a high in the low 40s. And that's it for NYIT's LI News Tonight. I'm Ken Eckhart. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.